I'm going to stop presenting because I would just like to say hello. So hopefully you guys can see me. Good evening. My name's Keith Blyer. I think most of you on the call are familiar with who I am. I won't spend a lot of time talking about myself, but as you may know, one of my roles at the club is college placement program. I'm the director for that program, and think I'm well suited for the position. Having probably in my nearly 30 years of coaching now, there are over 100 players, I think, that I have coached at the club level that went on to college careers. I'd like to create a list someday. I should do that, but I think I'm north of 3 digits now. Also the head coach at Green River College, which is a 2-year school in the NWAC in your neighborhood. You probably know where that is. And then I coach 2 teams within the club, 2 gold E64 teams. So that's me. Hello. I'm going to start sharing my screen again. We've got a lot of slides to get through. And again, I've got the chat function up here. So if there's an issue with the call, hopefully not, fingers crossed. Probably the most annoying thing will be my dog, Murph. Murph, come here, buddy. Come here. There's Murph. Okay. Murphy's very jealous. He's jealous of when I talk into computers, believe it or not. So at some point he'll start barking. All right, here we go. Let's see. Okay, so some of this might be repeat information for those of you who have been with the club for 2 or 3 years. These are nice reminders, right? And if it's new information, great. You can scribble down as much as you would like as we go through this, but I will make sure that these slides are available to you via our college placement program page on our website. We've got 3 that committed to college program, excuse me, 3 times 2, Blair, that's 6. We have 6 players that committed to college programs in the last few months. So congratulations to Liam, Tori, Zoe, Mo, Miles, and Maz, Aubrey Gilbert. Okay. Let's see, there we go. What I would say about playing at the next level is that anybody on this call, well, I shouldn't say anybody because there are probably a couple moms and dads that might have used up all of their eligibility. But any player that is on this call can play college soccer. Why do I say that? Because there are all kinds of opportunities out there, and there are all kinds of levels. Plus, if you're on this call, you've been playing soccer for a while. You definitely have interest and desire, and the motivation thing is the most important piece of this. So keep playing soccer. And there's Murph. Murphy, get over here. If you're open-minded about where and at what level, you're going to broaden your horizons, multiply your options, and that will also be of great benefit to you. If you say, I only want to play at Stanford, that could be a little bit trickier. Let's put it that way. You need to be proactive. So the word of the day, kids, was that Sesame Street? Did they do a word of the day? It's proactive, okay? And that's an adjective, which means you make things happen instead of waiting for them to happen to you. And that's what you're going to learn about tonight, okay? First, the agenda. We're going to go through the checklist real fast. And again, this is available to you. Okay. I want to show you the best platforms that I believe as a current college coach and as someone who is coaching club players who want to play in college, what those best platforms are, how you can create profiles. Some of you on this call are lucky enough to have a Valor provided sports recruiting platform. You need to be maximizing that big time. And then you need to create a video highlight reel of yourself playing. If you do not have that, you are reducing your exposure for sure. And I'll explain that in a second. We'll have a quick Q&A with a couple Valor players who are now in college programs, provided they jump on and don't forget while they're hanging out in their dorm rooms. And then we're going to have a current head college soccer coach join us as well. Not me, somebody else. A Q&Q there's my first typo. See that? Nothing but questions. She will have no answers. And then I just want to show you around the college placement program page on the website. Okay, so here we go. If you are a freshman, okay, what do you need to do? And it's okay if you've fallen behind, try to catch up. All right. If you're ahead, great. But sometimes you want things to happen really quickly as a freshman, and they don't happen your freshman year. Okay. You just need to put your ducks in a row. So concern yourself with academics. That's far more important than gaining the attention of any specific college coach. Create a free account on NCSA and field level. I'm not going to click on the links just in the interest of time, but you can click on these links when you get these slides, okay? You need to create a top 20 list. Some of you really ambitious players should create a top 50 list, and I'm not kidding when I say that. They need to include schools from all levels, NCAA Division 1 to 3, NAIA, and even the NWAC. Little love for the NWAC. A great resource to create this list is available via NCSA. This link right here, men's programs and women's programs, will send you directly to their page, which has every single program at all levels available to you there. Even shows you where the school is, and links to their information. You can also find that in Sports Recruits as well. You should start emailing college coaches, but I want you to understand that very few of them will reply. That's mostly due to recruiting rules. And if you've heard of college ID camps, maybe one or two your freshman year. Don't break the bank. They can be expensive. So your sophomore year, what do you do? Okay, so if you're a sophomore, pay attention. You should start pairing your top 20 list to maybe a top 15, okay? And what you should do is go to those school-specific athletic websites. Most of them have a Recruit Me page or a prospective player page, and you fill out that form, okay? Then, obviously, if you have a Sports Recruits platform through us, if you're a member of one of our premier teams, our oldest premier teams, you need to start monitoring that big time. Again, continue to email college coaches, especially when you play in a tournament. We'll go over that in a second. But also understand that due to recruiting rules and the fact that most of them are focusing on juniors and seniors, you're not going to get a lot of love back unless you're an outlier, and that's like 1 out of 200 kids, okay? I'll be honest, I really don't start talking to any players about Green River College until they're at least a junior. Bigger schools, D1, D2, a little bit earlier, but again, they have guidelines, so they can't get at sophomores, all right? ID camps, again, are very valuable. Most college programs will tell you that 30% of their roster comes from kids that have attended their ID camps, maybe higher in some instances, okay? And this is where you start to compile video highlights. Most of you on this call have access to a video camera through Valor, and others have teams that have maybe a trace camera, or maybe you got a dad who's a really good videographer, but you need to start thinking about creating a highlight reel for yourself. Okay, as we move on to your junior year, again, you keep communicating via email is the best form with college coaches. A lot of them are now allowed to reply, and they might reach out to you. Sometimes you'll get like a blanket response that says, yeah, thank you for contacting us. Here's our ID camp. Sometimes you might get something a little more personalized. If you get a personalized response, I want you to move that college toward the top of your list. But again, most of the significant coach to player one-to-one communication really doesn't start until the summer before your senior year. Be sure to update your highlight video. Don't create something from your U15 season and start and keep showing that to coaches as you enter your senior year. It'll be obvious to them. And as you get into your senior year, this is obviously where you start applying to colleges, any that have shown any interest in you and you have reciprocated that interest, okay? I think you should have a top 5 list by now, and that top 5 list should be colleges that have shown interest in you as a player and a student athlete, not just the dream school. If you haven't heard anything back from the dream school by now, I'm going to be real with you guys. You're going to be a walk-on at best, and you're probably not going to see the field. So you have to think about whether or not you would be happy with that role. Update your highlight video as I have said, and then communicate with any college coach of any level. They can now communicate with you in any form, right? If you happen to just get us an email, wow, I've never heard of this school out in Montana. I would research it, because if they're showing interest in you, you need to give significant thought into whether or not, that might be the right place for you. So reply to anybody who contacts you promptly, even if you've never heard of the school. All right, so the two for me right now, and it changes. It used to be College Fit Finder, and some people think it's Captain U, but the two best platforms for me, and this is a subjective opinion of someone who's on both sides of it, okay? I recruit through these programs, and I see the value for our club players, our NCSA and field level. And all you got to do when you get these slides is click on these logos. It'll send you right to it, and you can set it up. If you can see here, this is what it looks like for me on the end as a college coach. I have information, this little, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but you can see these little camera icons. That means that the player has video, which makes her far more interesting to me, or I can get some real research done on that player. Talk about that in a second. But it also tells me their interests, whether or not they're a good match for my program. So you can just kind of see how valuable it is for a college coach. There are paid add-ons, I would say, to these programs and these platforms. I don't think you need to go that far, but totally up to you. Field level is used a lot through high school programs, and I think that's really starting to grow a little bit. D3 and junior college programs use a lot of field level and recruit out of the high schools a little bit more than D1 and D2. So again, go create your profile today on both of these if you can. All right. Now, this is obviously something that's folded into our player fees for our oldest premier teams. So right now, and reach out to me if you don't, but all 2005 to 2008 birth year players on premier Valor teams should have a free Sports Recruits account. And look at all that it does for you. Okay, you can reach out directly to any college coach straight through the platform. You can embed video into your profile. You can create a target list of schools. You can do research within this program. I was really happy to be able to add this a couple years ago. Had to fight, honestly, to have it continued within our club. And I want you to use it to your fullest extent. So these are just a couple screen grabs. And I don't know if Micah's on the call or Spencer or Kai, but a little love for you guys. Here's Micah. He's got a great platform that he's put together on Sports Recruits, and you can see all the information. He gets to write a little profile statement about himself. The more information you can put on any of these profiles, NCSA, field level, or Sports Recruits, the better. And you can see that Kai has reached out or favorited a couple schools. And then you can see here on the right, Spencer not only had his profile viewed, but his video looked at by a Division III school down. I believe that's in California. No, it's in Pennsylvania, Grove City College. Okay. So I just want to show you what it looks like on my end in terms of the activity. And I'll be honest with you guys, the more active players on Sports Recruits are the ones in the next, 6 to 12 to 18 months that I'm going to be reaching out to and saying, hey, where are you with your process? If I look at it and, you created your platform or your profile 18 months ago and haven't touched it since, well, that proves that maybe there's not a lot of proactivity. There's the word, being proactive. And so maybe you're not all that interested in a college program. Okay, flying right along. As I mentioned, video is vital, okay? The club has we now have 5 video camera systems, and the coaches of our oldest teams have been told that they should be requesting the usage of those cameras for your teams, Premier and Select, on a regular basis. I'll be honest with you, some coaches are better than others. And you need to push your coach if you do not see a video camera at your match, at least on an every other match basis, okay? You should all have specific VO pages, U13 to U19 Premier teams, okay, that's Premier teams. We do allow select teams to post their videos on what we call our Valor Way library, so you still have access to those videos. but anybody in our Premier program can download the videos, put them right onto their computer, and start to save clips and create highlight reels. Look at this thing in the red at the bottom. And I think this is actually, if you're talking about D3 programs, NAIA programs, or junior college programs, I think it's more than 2 to 3 times. But if you have video and you can attach it to a profile, or when a coach reaches out to you and says, do you have any video, and you send it, you are 2 to 3 times more likely to be contacted, not only by those programs who are looking blindly at you or have never heard of you until they get on these platforms, but you are now going to be added to their list much quicker. I think you can probably understand why. So what's a good highlight video? And again, this document here on the left, player highlight video tips, and that little screenshot of Ruby Lacktrip, a player I coached at PAC. I created that video for her, but highlight videos of yourself, simply the best way to showcase your ability and who you are as a player, aside from a coach seeing you in person. And honestly, most coaches, especially if you're interested in Division III schools out on the East Coast, are not going to have the opportunity to see you play in person unless you fly all the way out to their ID camp. Okay. Also, if they do see you play once or twice, they're almost always going to say, keep sending me video. And they mean it when they say that. So how long should a video be? No longer than 6 minutes. You're wasting your time. I'll be real with you. I usually watch the first 90 seconds to 2 minutes of a video, and I've got a pretty good idea as to whether or not that player fits the profile of what I'm looking for. And most college coaches will tell you the same thing. Show various skills, right? So it shouldn't just be you hitting bangers from 30 yards. As good as you might be at that, what about defending? What about combination play? Okay. And just a couple other points here that you can look at when you go through these slides on your own toward another time. Put your best stuff at the front. Okay. Don't say, oh, I want to save that clip for last. I want to, wow them at the end. No, I would say, of your top 10 clips, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 6 should be right up at the front. Okay. And the stuff from field level, like the stuff that your mom got with her iPhone, where you're running all the way on the other side of the field, that's not one of your best clips. So this VO stuff, the elevated angle from the stands, that's what you want. No music, because if you put any music to it, the coach is just going to turn it down. He or she does not want to hear the music. And plus, copyrighted songs may actually result in your video being shut down on some platforms. Okay, so you could probably recognize the last name here. And we're not going to watch the entire video, I promise you that. But, and this is not of a club player. This is of my son playing at an academy in England. But first, what you'll see right off the top is this slate, right? And the slate has his name, has his position, a trait like I'm left-footed. Okay, that helps. And where it took place, you would want to have your graduation year. Good videos show which player I'm looking at right away. So the red arrow, right? And if you can freeze the video, great. If not, that's okay. But most of you have some ability. So who am I looking at? This is elevated angle. There's the red arrow that we've put in. And we show a little pre and a little post. In other words, just before his action and just after his action. What you see too is you've got matches or clips from 3 different matches, right? This is against the Preston North End Academy. Evan spent about 4 months in England at the beginning of this year. And by the way, Miles DeHaan from Valor is doing the same thing, but in Spain. So should you consider a gap year? That's a question you could ask me personally. But again, I'm not going to show you all of this. I will tell you that I zoomed in on some of these videos. I don't know if you have the ability with how you edit to do so, but you can see that we've shown various things in regards to who Evan is as a player. And this is an example where we did zoom in. Whoops, own goal. That was a tough moment for that man. Okay, so moving on to contacting coaches ahead of tournaments. Okay, I won't spend a lot of time on this slide, but I will tell you that every time you play in a tournament, most tournaments have a list of college coaches who are attending. Reach out to any coach that you have interest in their program in their university, maybe even a few that you don't. And don't do it the morning of the match. Do it 2 or 3 days out. And here's a really good example of an email that you should send. And again, this is available on our website, and these slides will be available to you. Okay. Enough of me. My dog actually, Murphy, you did well. There was only like one bark. Good job. Okay. So Zoe and Mo, make sure your microphones are off mute, and let me know you are here by saying, hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith.
That's one. Who was that? Was that Mo or Zoe?
Mo.
Hi, Mo. Zoe, are you on? Uh-oh. Zoe might have fallen asleep in her dorm room. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. So we're really lucky to have Mo Donahue from Willamette University, which is a Division III school and a great college down in Salem, Oregon. And then we got Zoe Stacy, hopefully. She's out in Yakima. She's playing in the NWAC for the Yaks of Yakima Valley College. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Oh my God.
Are you getting, hey Mo, are you getting some stick from your roommates? Is that what's going on? Okay. Thanks for joining us. All right, so I gave you some questions ahead of time, but I want to start with one I don't want to start with a downer, but I do want you to explain your current situation at Willamette for a couple reasons. One, how you're going to handle it mentally, and come back stronger than ever. Two, I want every player on this call to understand how fortunate they are to have every moment that they have on the field. So what happened to you as you started your career down there with the Bearcats?
All right, first I'll say hi. Hi guys, I'm Marissa Donahue and I played on the Gold 05 and I had a lot of different coaches, but my last one was Hat Trip and I played with Zoe. So what happened to me is on our first scrimmage match of the year, I stepped wrong and I turned. It doesn't even have to be high contact, but I tore my ACL and my meniscus. And like sometimes it happens and you don't realize it happens, it didn't hurt. But it sucks to like get hurt in your first game, your first year of college because you did all this work and then you get hurt. It's like, what's the point? But then you gotta realize like it is what it is. Like it's part of life. Sometimes you get hurt, you just gotta move on. And like what I'm doing now is like I go to the trainer room every single day for at least an hour and I'm making sure I'm still making connections with the team. I go to every practice and I sit there, even if I can't play, I'm going. And I go to all the games and I'm making connections with my team. So if there's something happening, I go. And like, you just got to push through. Like, right now, I'm doing better than most people because I'm pretty positive about it. But you just got to remember, like, it's life and it happens. Like, this is not a lifelong injury. You just got to remember, like, it's only temporary, it's only a year. But that's how I've been doing.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I will tell you that it's not the first time I've heard of that. And as most female players know, you are more susceptible to significant injuries to your knees. The beauty is you're not my age, Mo. You are a college soccer player in the year 2023, which means with some reconstruction, you can come back stronger and better than ever. Back in my day, it was a lot more difficult to rehab. So I love a couple of the points that you made. Number one, staying connected with your team, going out to every training session, right? Even if it's with crutches, right? Building those relationships, as you say, proving your commitment. But I think it's good for your mental health too, right? To not just unplug from the program, especially in your first year. And the good news is you didn't do it in the fourth match of the season, right?
Yeah.
Because you now have the potential to redshirt.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about doing that?
I'm still deciding. Like, it's an easy thing where you can say yes to, but not utilize in the later years. But I still haven't talked to my coach about that yet.
Yeah. Okay. So, moving on to the fun stuff. Um, how did you end up at Willamette? Tell me about your recruiting pathway.
So my recruiting pathway was actually pretty weird compared to most because halfway through my junior, maybe my junior, halfway through, maybe halfway to the end of my junior year, the coach got fired. So I know this has happened to a lot of other people I know because sometimes coaches get moved through. So you got to remember when you choose a program, you don't choose by a coach, you choose by the school. And I had to completely restart like the beginning of my senior year. And it turned out okay, but like what you have to do is like you have to email them once a week. Even if like you feel like you don't have to have anything to say, you just have to remember like they need to know your face. Like and you have to go to ID camps. And even if you're only interested in one school there, go there and you email them and you go up and you have to talk to them. Like make sure they can't forget you. And then you also like what I also did is if they had local games, I would go and I'd watch and I'd talk to the coach and I'd see the team, but you just have to make sure you got to keep reaching out. Like, even if they don't respond, it doesn't mean they're not interested. Another school that I talked to, I didn't email them for a long time, and they sent me signing paperwork. So just because someone's not talking to you actively doesn't mean they're not interested.
That is so true because college coaches are very, very busy. And by the
Yeah.
way, in the fall, if they go quiet in the fall, there's a reason for that.
Mm.
They are fully focused on your team. Yeah. So when did you? I think one of the questions that some of the older players might have, like, when do I get that magic? You've got an offer, right? When do you get the? And did he really mean that, or did she really say, "I get it. I'm going to be on this team"? When did you know for a fact that you might end up there, or that you were being offered a spot in the program?
That's actually really funny because I remember so I officially committed and I did all that winter my senior year. So like don't feel too rushed. Like take your time. For most programs, especially Division 3, they're still looking for people like that far into the year, even like late into the spring, kind of late into the spring. But for a couple months, it was like tiptoe. We're like, you might fit into this program. We're interested in you, but like they're not, from my experience, they don't ever say like we want you for the team. It's more like they'll tiptoe around it, and then you have to ask them, "Hey, coach, like, I love this program. I love this team. What do you think?" And then they'll tell you. Like, they're never gonna straight up be say that.
So I believe the word is proactive. You actually
Yeah.
have to say, yes, I want to be there. Can I be a part of your program? That's a scary thing to ask a college coach, but yeah. So why did you choose Willamette? What factored into your decision?
So the reason I chose Willamette is it's not all about the team is something you have to remember. Like, because if things go wrong or if you end up not enjoying it, you have to remember the school first. The reason I chose Willamette is because it was a school that was close to home. It was Division 3. It had the major I wanted, which not many schools have. It was really pretty. And
Yeah.
I like the coach and I talked to her many times. And I also talked to people on the team. So I got an idea of the team atmosphere, which is really important. So before you choose a school, like make sure you're checking like how many people on the roster, like what's the turnover rates? Do these people play all 4 years or is there huge transfer rates? So I talked to them and they really enjoyed the program. They enjoyed the school. So I decided like, yeah, this is probably the right place for me.
There are four players on the men's team down at Willamette that I coached
Mm.
before I moved up to Seattle. So you'll have to say hi to Simon Kidder for me.
Oh, fun.
Um, yeah, so Omar Rodriguez and so on and so forth. Okay, so we know what the toughest part of your first couple months as a college player has been. What are you really enjoying? What's different about the next level, Mo?
Okay, so I only had 3 days before I got hurt, which is kind of sad, but like it's so different. Like I feel like with club, you're you're playing to a certain intensity, but when you go to college, even a small D3 program, like it just elevates that much more. Like every single practice is a competition, especially when you're a freshman, you kind of have to prove your place. And even it's okay if you're in like not quite there with the top at the beginning, but like you have to prove your spot. So you have to like give your 100% every single practice. You have to prove you're there, and they're intense, and they'll like call you out for your mistakes. So it's a lot harder, but also the team is so much closer because you're with these people at least for the first 2 weeks, like 24/7. So you kind of build like really close bonds. And like before I came here, I was actually hanging out with some of my teammates. So you build
Mhm.
really good bonds.
Yep. All right. So what last question for you, Mo? And then anybody who has a question for Mo, you can put it in chat. Okay. I think we got Zoe figured out. So we're going to go to
Yeah.
Zoe next. But one more for you, Mo. What what do you wish you knew a year or two ago that you know now about just going through the process or college soccer or being prepared for your freshman
Yeah.
year, that stuff?
So I think the biggest thing being prepared for me in the summer, the getting prepared for college soccer was I wish that the summer after my senior year I joined a local adult league because I didn't and I kind of did practicing on my own. And even you can only prepare so much when you don't have other people to scrimmage. And I really wish I joined that league just to be ready. And then another thing I noticed that I wasn't quite ready for is um I've never been like the strongest on fundamental skills. I've always been more of like a field player to show my skills, but I think before you go there, make sure all of your fundamentals are like very sound because otherwise you're gonna fall behind on things that you shouldn't be.
Hmm. Okay. Mo, thanks. I really appreciate this, and I wish you the very best. You're yeah, we'll just take care of that knee, and you're going to be a star for the Bearcats in years to come. All right, and thank you for taking the time tonight.
All right.
Okay, you can stay on if you want, but you don't have to. I'm sure you got all kinds of homework.
Yeah.
Willamette is a tough school. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
you
All right.
you
Bye,
chose a tough
guys.
one. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Zoe, are you with us now?
I think so. I hope. Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Good. Okay. All right. Oh, she's got the lights in her room and everything. All right. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm actually at home right now. I'm not even in Yakima right now. I got lucky with the
Oh, you
mini.
are? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, good. All right. Well, I'm glad we figured out the technical stuff. All right. So talk to me. How was your first month and a half been as a yak?
Yeah, so I didn't hear exactly what Mo's got going on, but I heard knee injury, and I'm actually kind of on the same boat right now, which is why I'm home right now. I actually am getting an ultrasound on my knee tomorrow because there's a few
Oh no.
might be going on, but I played a little bit more than 3 days. I did all of preseason, and then my knee tapped out. But it's been really fun, been really enjoyable. A lot more difficult than I expected it to be. My coach actually just hired a fitness coach, and he likes the phrase addressing the physical side. And so a lot of our practices, especially during the preseason, was conditioning. Was
Yeah.
a lot of conditioning, and that's just because you have to be prepared to play the game. And my coach conditions us more than what we need to play a full 90-minute game, just so we're always prepared and always ready. But it's been a lot of fun. I love my teammates to death. It's actually our team this year is a very freshman heavy team. Last year was very sophomore heavy because we had a different coach. My coach is my coach has been with the program for 2 years now, and the coach before him recruited a lot of sophomores. And so this year we only have 3 sophomores. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
you are young. Yeah.
yeah, so a lot of freshmen. But it's been really fun. I've gotten close with a lot of my teammates. I'm happy.
Good. I'm happy to hear it, but these issues with knees are making me angry. No, I got my fingers crossed for you, Zoe. Yeah, and take care of it, right? And just to stop, and this isn't necessarily about like getting into a college soccer program, but plyometrics, okay? Plyometrics, especially you female players on this call. And plyometrics is a fancy word for just hopping around. Just hop around a lot, okay? We do it every day at Green River. It builds the strength in your knee ligaments and hopefully prevents significant issues, but sometimes it's just bad luck. So were you ready? Were you ready for all that physical conditioning, Zoe?
I had a rough summer, so not exactly as ready as I wanted to be. But my coach got us there pretty quick. We did Pretty much 120s. It wasn't 120s. It was like go one back and then through. And then we did it like a certain amount of times, which ended up equaling 120s. Don't recommend.
And that's on grass too, right? In the heat of the summer in Yakima. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. We played at Yakima Valley last year and it was 104 degrees. I'm sure you've had a couple of those hot days out there, but okay. So how did you end up there? Like, I mean, yeah. What was the recruiting process like for you, and when did you make your decision?
So I did a lot of the recruiting on my own. I used pretty much only NCSA. I used the sports recruit when the club got it, but I really focused all my recruiting on NCSA. I used the recruiting coach that NCSA provides us, and he gave me a little bit of insight on like how I should be recruited and how should I market myself. And a lot of recruiting is marketing yourself. You may not think that you're good in certain areas of the game, but if you market the areas that you are really good in and show your strengths, coaches will look at that and see that and they're like, okay, that's what we need on our team and on our program. So for Yakima, I actually reached out to my coach first. He was at Crossfire, and I reached out to him, and he watched my game. It was a lot of communication over text. We texted on NCSA first, and then he sent me the wrong number, and so then I was like, we texted on NCSA trying to tell him, hey, my field changed last minute, but your phone number doesn't work. So he finally sent the right number, and then he watched me one game, and then he watched me another game at that tournament as well, and then we talked after. And then after that, we scheduled a visit and we stayed in contact a lot. And then at the visit, I was very adamant about going to Yakima. I fell in love with the school right away. I fell in love with how his coaching style. I fell in love with like how he like talked and interacted to people, and that was like really huge for me. I really like how coaches interact with other people, not just me, but seeing how they interact with others. Kind of just shows me like a little bit of their character, which honestly means a lot to me because I want to be happy with the coach and the environment they're providing me and the other players. And so at the coaches, me and coach had a meeting at a visit, and I told him, like, I was very straight with him. I'm like, this is where I want to be. Like, if there's anything that I can do to make that happen, I will do it. And I was actually at a team bonding for my high school team beginning of September, and I got the call, and I stepped outside, and he's like, I'm here to officially offer you. I was like, yes, I will take it. Like, he was my number one option. I visited 3 other schools and nothing compared to what I wanted at Yakima. But yeah, it was pretty great. And then I signed the first.
That's a fun moment. And having coached you a little bit, Zoe, you deserve what your experience that you're going through right now. Not the knee thing, but you're a phenomenal teammate, and that goes a long way. And you are very open about, I will play any role on any team. You even were a goalkeeper for us for a little bit. And that's a really important thing, because when I got to college at Santa Clara University, I thought I was a center mid. Well, everybody thinks they're a center mid or a forward. I ended up as left back, and then I gave up a goal on a header at the back post, and I ended up back in the midfield. But all right, so one more for you, and then we're going to move on to a head coach in college. What do you wish you knew a year or two ago about soccer, college soccer, the whole process that you know now?
Honestly, a lot of the time for me, like especially going into Yakima, I was scared I was not going to be ready just because I thought I was like behind technically, like on pretty much everything. But when I got there, I was like, don't be scared to be unprepared, because all the coaches are there and ready to help you and make you the best player that you can be. And so just don't be scared. Just embrace everything that you've got as a player and go in there and have fun.
Awesome. So are there players? I'm going to ask you a black and white question. I know you're very honest. Are there players on the team that are better than you, much better than you?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yep, and that's a little bit scary, right? But they're
Yeah.
also old, in many cases older, or maybe more experienced, or played at a really high level, or they're just, they're gifted.
Mhm.
But yeah, Did you in a short amount of time, not right away, but in a short amount of time, did you go, you know what, I'm going to be all right here. I'm going to fit in. I'm going to eventually play a role in this program.
Oh yeah, 100%. It was actually funny. I had a similar experience to you. I wanted to be like up top, like outside mid and all that stuff because I don't really like playing the defense. And then all of preseason, I was an outside back, which I can play outside back. I'm just like, not my favorite.
Yep. But willing to play any role.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Zoe, thanks a lot.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
I just wanted to let everyone know on the call, specifically the women's players, because Yakima doesn't have a men's program. But if you are looking to be recruited and want to go in the junior college level, please let me know. My name is pretty unique, so you can find me on any social, really. If you are really interested in like going and playing at a junior college level, text me. I will give you my coach's number. He is always recruiting, and he's always looking to find new players and new talent.
Awesome. You're doing a sales job for YVC too.
Just a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So you can consider Yakima Valley College or Green River's not bad either. But yeah, okay. I got you. Thanks, Zoe.
No problem.
Okay. Bye. Good to see you. All right. I want to do this. I want to go here. And I just want you to see who you were talking to there again. So thanks, Mo. Best wishes with her comeback from the knee issue. And Zoe. There is a question in chat before we move on to our next guest. I feel like I'm on a talk show. Ashley Boston asked, do you girls know some girls on your team who play more than one sport at your college? Okay, well, maybe we'll ask our next guest that. I will tell you that in the NWAC at the junior college level, there are many multiple sport athletes. The higher you go, if you're a Division I athlete, it's very difficult to play two sports because that's almost a year-round commitment, right? Division II also could be challenging. Division III, or we'll ask the next guest that question. But I know at the junior college level, not only does it happen, but they encourage it. I've got 3 players on my soccer team who will run track in the spring. Okay, who's next? I hope she's here. Michelle, are you here? Take yourself off mute.
Hello.
Yes. Okay, good. There's that nervous moment where like, oh my gosh, she's busy recruiting herself, or she joked with me last night. This is past my bedtime.
It is. I was tempted to just go to bed.
All right, so we're thrilled to have Michelle for 15 minutes. She is the head coach at at Whitman in Walla Walla. Whitman is a really an excellent school out there on the other side of the state. Academically demanding. They're a Division III program. They play in the Northwest Conference. If you have any questions for Michelle, you put them in chat, and I will definitely pass them along. So, Michelle, I got a couple for you, but let's start with one that was already in chat that I forgot to ask one of the players. Do you have anybody at Whitman who's like a multi-sport athlete?
Actually, I do on our team, and we do have a few. We are in the fall, and lacrosse is a sport in the spring. And so I have a current player, and I may have another one. One of my first years might do this, play lacrosse in the spring. It's pretty challenging if you're in a winter sport. So basketballs or swimming, tennis, sometimes it's a little challenging if there's like an overlap. But to do a fall sport and a spring sport, it's really easy and it makes a lot of sense. So and we're very open to doing that at Division III. I mean, the big thing about Division III is we don't have athletic scholarships. Everything is based on academic merit. And so, our athletes choose to play a sport because that's what they love to do. They're really passionate about it. And so anytime you can do it, compete in college at 2 sports, it is awesome. So we're definitely very much supportive of that.
Good. Okay. I know your background, but just share your background at the college level, at least in terms of, the places you've been. You're an authority because you've been at all kinds of levels.
Well, back in 2008, I started my coaching career at Oregon State University. I was in the Pac-12, which I believe is maybe a Pac-2 now. Next
Yes.
year. Well, that's a whole
Don't
nother
remind
topic
me.
for another Zoom call
Yeah.
or whatever we're on Google. Yeah, so I started off at Oregon State. I was there from 2008 through 2018. And then I had one season up the road at Division II program, Western Oregon. And then I got the head coaching job here at Whitman in 2020. And I'm going on my third year here at Whitman College. So it's been a pretty intense experience. Been through all the levels, more or less. Recruited everywhere. Done a lot of recruiting. So and a lot of different coaching. I also was involved in the Oregon ODP program. That's how Keith and I met. I ran the goalkeeping for the girls, and sometimes for the boys. And I'm currently involved in ODP at the regional level. So it's really great. Been
All
around.
right. So the resume says D1, D2, D3. So you know of what you speak. So the biggest question to ask, I don't want to keep you too long, and this is only supposed to last another 10 minutes or so. So let's just the big one is, how does a player in a youth soccer club, a U16, U17 player, maximize their exposure, draw the attention of a recruiter or a college program, and make it happen for themselves?
Yeah. Well, I heard you say, I mean, you've got to be very proactive. And also I think it's understanding the rules a little bit. So like Division I and Division II are going to have the most restrictions around recruiting. They cannot communicate at all until you're after that sophomore year, right? So very different than Division III. We can pretty much talk to you whenever, because we're not dealing with the financial, like the scholarship piece. So with that said, it's important to reach out to all the schools, regardless of the division. Just understand that if you're emailing, a Division I or II program, they're not going to get back to you because they can't. Not because they don't know you, not because they don't like you. It's just the rules. That's just something to understand. So, they will have you in their database. They will make sure that they, especially if you write those programs quite a bit, they're going to make sure that, they're going to try to see you. Big things when you're contacting coaches is just keep it simple, right? So the basic information, who you are, what club you play for, what position you play, contact with coaches, and video. And when you're doing video, make it highlight. We don't need to see mistakes. We know mistakes happen in soccer. Show us your highlight and start with your best stuff at the beginning. Don't save it till the end because sometimes coaches don't make it to the end. So you want to.
I said, hey, Michelle, I joked with them that I mean, as a junior college coach, I watch about 90 seconds. I mean, I'm just being real, right? And then the first 90 seconds determines whether or not you're going to watch the next 90 seconds.
Absolutely. So being proactive in terms of reaching out, contacting, get on the questionnaires. Then the next thing is looking at camps, right? A lot of schools do college ID camps. These are a great way to get in front of coaches, but also to be coached by those coaches. Also, a lot of clubs do college ID camps. So, if your club's doing a camp, and they bring in guest coaches to observe you or coach you, that's such a great opportunity. Anytime, is because those are coaches coming to you, and at a camp, they're going to get a chance to see you in a lot of different spaces where you can shine in a lot of different ways, right? Whereas if you're just at the tournament, we're watching maybe 20, 30 minutes of a game, then there's the next game, especially some of those big tournaments. So really great to do the contacts and the highlights, get to some college ID camps, and then also continue with, hey, here's my big showcase. And now when a coach knows you a little bit, then they're going to go want to see you play in that showcase with your team and see you shine in your environment. So, that's kind of like a roadmap, and that works for everyone. I think, and then you just have to be persistent, keep contact. understand that coaches there, it's an it ebbs and flows kind of our busy times, you know, in the season, and we're very focused in what we're doing with our own team. So recruiting's there, but it's a different like level of intensity. It's about, you know, this is a time where people are visiting and they're making decisions, and you know, the off season. So, you know, the rest of the year, like we're January, you know, through the summer, those are times that we're very, very active. So definitely, you know, just stick with it. Do your research, make sure that when you're writing, you know, and it's okay to use like a similar email, but make sure you change the names and the schools and those little details, because there's nothing that says delete more than hi Whitworth, you know, hi, you know, Whitworth College. That's our rival. It's like delete.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Or, you know,
Oregon State. Hey,
yeah,
Oregon. And I'm like, Mo, you're out of here.
yeah.
Sorry, Keith.
Well, no, I was just unfortunately, I started by saying you're at Walla Walla in Whitman, Washington. So mistakes are made, but yeah, be careful when you're those copy paste emails. That's an easy way to hit the spam folder real fast. Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question that, like, I don't ask this very often, but you're good at everything. You can answer anything. So,
Oh man, thanks.
What?
Keith.
Okay, so let's say Whitman is your dream school. Okay.
Yeah.
Your parents went there. You know, you just you want to have it happen, but you as a coach, Coach Voiland is like, I don't know if that player is quite of that level. I think you should, or we have too many players at your position, or how does a prospective recruit know that school maybe isn't for them? Is there anything coded that a coach can say, or the coach says, that gives them, okay, I should move on to something else?
Well, I think a little bit of that depends on where you're at in the process, right? You know, if you're starting off early, your freshman, sophomore year, I mean, I certainly hope that coaches are doing their, you know, I mean, the thing about Division III in particular is we're not making decisions until after your junior year because of your academics, right? Division III, it's very, very number one focus is academics, and these are schools that are very challenging to get into, and are set up for people that really want that kind of a challenge. So, you know, the academics is always going to be a piece of the puzzle, right? So we try to do that to get a hold of that. And then, you know, just being transparent with coaches. I think it's important to say to a coach, hey, you are my number one school and I'm a legacy player, because that definitely is something to consider when we're building our rosters. You know, and I found that, you know, at Division III, it's something that's a little different than Division I or II. Because you know, if we find a player that's just like an excellent student, really loves the school, wants to be a part of the program, and understands that there's some work to do to be an impact player, right? I think, you know, I'm very transparent. So I think those are questions to ask coaches. Yeah. And just like put it out there. It's not like, it doesn't have to be a poker game. You know, I think the best thing you can do in recruiting is be upfront about what you're looking for and what your goals are, because when coaches hear that, it's like they, you know, then that gives us a little more context. Yeah. I think that at Division I or II, you know, there's money involved, there's scholarships involved, there's so many spots on a team. But again, if a player's like, look, I love the school, I want to be at that school, I'm a hardworking, good culture kid, and I'm going to bring something to your program. Maybe I'm not going to be the star player, but I'm going to be someone that's a rock for your program. I think coaches, you know, are going to pay attention to that, because, you know, for us, when we're building our programs, just like your club teams, it's about having a good group, and it's about having a good culture, a strong culture, and becoming a better person and getting that education. So, you know, there are players that when I was at Oregon State, man, we had players that never played a minute. But man, they were bought in, they were all in, and they did they knew what their role was, and they loved that role. So, you know, that's my take on that.
Yeah, no, it's very good. I like that phrase. It doesn't have to be a poker game, right? And then you don't have to. There should be a tell. Like, be transparent with the coach and ask the question. A lot of the times it'll be, you know, if you don't ask the question, you may not get the answer. But if you walk up to me and you tell me in a phone call or even an email, like, this is my top choice. Here's the reasons I want to go. Do you really think I can play here? You're going to get an honest answer almost every time, right? So yeah, good. Okay, there are a couple questions in the chat. Okay. One says, how upfront should players be about injuries that they are dealing with, or maybe their injury history?
Yeah, I mean, I always appreciate knowing somebody's injury history. I think that, as a coach, it's good for us to know where a player's coming from. One, if you're recovering from an injury and you're not quite at your best yet, it's good to know what we're watching. If you've had a serious injury, an ACL or, any sort of ligament work or broken bones or things or concussions, it's good for coaches. When you get into that, it might not be the first thing you have to tell everybody,
Yeah, right.
but I definitely think it's part of the conversation to say, look, I've had some serious injuries and I've come back from them. I mean, it shows resilience, it shows determination, work ethic. It shows that how passionate you are about your sport and how dedicated you are, because any big injury takes a lot to come back from. And there's a mental toughness that's there. There's always risk to injury. Some people, they tear an ACL because of their genetics. And it's at some point they're going to probably tear it or another one again. There's nothing you can really do about that. And some people, they just, injuries happen. It's the sport we're in. But again, it's good for coaches to know what they're dealing with. Every coach has their own personal feelings about that. I like to know, because then it's, one, during recruiting, it gives context to where you're at in your recovery process. And then when someone's, they're going to get your injury history. I think it's good for coaches to know, just to be aware, what type of maybe prehab type of strength extra exercises or extra time should be spent to make sure that an injury doesn't happen again. Because you do go to college, the intensity jumps up even higher because you cram a whole season into about 2.5 months. Sure. So if you've had injuries and coach knows that, great. Now, athletic trainer conversation, let's make sure we've got some exercises that we're focused in on. Let's do a test to see your strength in different areas, make sure you're balanced. And then let's work with our strength and conditioning coach also to, make sure we're doing whatever we can to get you strong to prevent further injury. When it comes to concussions, I think you need to be really, really straightforward, because concussions are serious. And if you have a history of that, people need to know so that they can take care of you the right way and make sure if you do end up with, I mean, there are people that have had 4 or 5 concussions. They don't say anything to get to college to get one. And you're like, what happened to this kid? And you find out, well, they had 4 or 5 major concussions. Well, maybe they shouldn't have been trying to play college soccer. And that, again, that's a whole nother theme, Keith, you could go through. But, I think being straightforward is important. Again, just so coaches can support you and know how the best way to help you be your best.
Yeah, because as much as you want to have an incredible 4 years playing at a high level, you've got another 50 years ahead of that, 60 years where you need to live. You need to live a life. 70 years. How about that? 80 years.
Keep that number going, man.
Yeah. And the concussion thing too is as you climb the levels, when you get to a college program, there are more resources and there's more. There are more people around to protect you if they have that information. Yep. Okay, it's 9:30, so I'm supposed to let you go. But how about one more question in chat? Okay. Do coaches include parents when contacting the kids? In other words, is this just a coach to player thing, or how often do you reach out to the parents, or should parents get involved? It's a tough one to answer, I know.
Well, I mean, I think when we're recruiting, when I'm recruiting, and I think most coaches out there, it's obviously we're dealing with young people, like high school students. When they've changed the rules a little bit, but you're still in high school. And I think obviously, a lot of the initial stuff is emails between coach and player. When it comes to a Zoom call or, a Google call or whatever, I have no problem if parents want to be on the call. I love it. I'd like to, because I think it's important. If someone comes on a visit, I want the parents to meet. I want to meet the parents, and I want the parents to see what we're about. You know, we're in that space where, you know, for a parent, they want to know, like, is my kid going to be in a good environment, or, you know, just to be there to have those conversations with their, you know, their son or daughter, to find out, like, hey, you know, asking the questions. I think that what's important is to, for parents, is to allow the player the opportunity to speak, to use his or her voice, to ask questions. Let the player take the lead and be there for support. And if something's like missed, hey, what about this question? Or hey, what about this? Because you've had family conversations around, what are you looking for? And so I think parents are there to help guide and shepherd, but there's nothing worse as a coach when parents take over.
Yeah.
Right. And it's nothing worse for the player when the parent takes over, because the parent's not going to school there.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, they're going to be involved, and we want our parents involved. And I think it's really, really important. And I do, you know, like, this is a family unit. And it's very, very important. I just think allow that space for the player to really show him or herself.
Yeah. Sit in the back seat. Be there. Be in the car. Be in the car, but sit in the back seat and ask the question that the player missed. The obvious question that when you get back in the car and you're headed back from Walla Walla, you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't we ask Michelle that? So, all right, Michelle, thanks for joining us. Obviously, we've had almost 70 people on the call at one point tonight. So anybody who's interested in Walla Walla, men or women.
So just let me just say one thing. So
yeah.
Walla Walla has 3 colleges here.
Yeah.
Walla Walla University, which
I
is
did it again. You're a Whitman. I know.
Walla Walla Community College, right, which plays in the NWAC, and is a fantastic 2-year school. And then Whitman College, and we are Division III. We play in the Northwest Conference, so we're playing against UPS, PLU, Whitworth, and then down in Oregon, there's 5 schools down there. So again, we're a small liberal arts school. Really, really incredible academics, and the Northwest Conference. You've already met one of your players from the Bearcats.
Yep.
She was Marissa.
Mo,
Yeah.
Yep. Mo
Yeah. You know, so it's a very, very, very talent-filled conference and very competitive conference. So don't think. I know we all think like, oh, Division I and II, we got to get up to those schools. Well, you know what? It's competitive wherever you go at the college level. So find the right fit for each one of you, whether it's, you know, think about what you want out of your academic experience, what you want out of life. So think of it in, like, you've got your academics, you've got your athletics, and then you've got your social life, because college is about growing and making friends and having life experiences, and it's really special. So don't forget that part of it. You know, what do you want out of your college experience? The cool thing is there's a school for every single person on this call. It's just amazing how many opportunities are out there.
Yeah.
So good luck, be persistent, and go on the visits. Make sure you visit schools. That's going to be, I think that's the last thing where you go, you think everything's great, and you go on the visit and you go, or you think, it's not that great. And then you go there and you fall in love with the school. So you got to get to those campuses to really, really be able to make that final decision, because you are the one that has to go there. If you feel a red flag, you feel a little off, it's probably going to be a real big thing. So enjoy it. Keith is great. Keith knows the ropes. He's a great guide for you all. So take advantage.
Keep going. Keep talking. Keep
Yeah.
All
right,
Michelle, good to see you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Good luck with the rest of the season at Whitman.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. Good luck with your journey. You're going to be great.
All right. You're the best. Appreciate it.
See you later. Man.
So seriously, if anybody, especially, you know, you just good 20 minutes with Michelle, you can see what she brings, her experience in her program. So if anybody's interested in Whitman, let me know, and I'll get you in direct contact with Michelle. Okay. Thanks for sticking with us through all this. I know we're 5 or 6 minutes over, so I'll just cruise through. I will not click the link. Go to valorsoccer.com/college. Okay. Under the resources tab, you've got everything that you need, a lot of the stuff that we covered, okay? The slides, there's a question in here already. The slides for this presentation will be up on the website. They're not there yet, but they'll be up on the website by Friday morning. I can promise you that. And then you could click through all the links and everything, okay? Guys, when you have any questions about the whole process, just send me an email and I promise I'll reply. It may not be in 2 hours, but it's going to be in less than a day or two, okay? And look, we can add another one. Zoe Heckinger just committed to Pacific Lutheran University. Congratulations to her. She is the first of our next batch. Okay, so you can make it there, wherever there is for you, from here, which is a part of the Pride. Okay, thanks, guys. Good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Keith.
You're welcome, guys. Send me an email with any questions. Ending call 321.